Hello everyone, this is Jaren Jove with my podcast, Overanalyzing Games, in which I overanalyze games played and give my opinions on them. Today, for this episode, I want to start off with yet another gripe of mine about the worst game ever created in all of human history. Chrono Cross. For this episode, I'll be discussing the incoherence of Serge, Kid, and Korcha's character motives. To begin with, the characters' actions throughout Chrono Cross make absolutely no sense whatsoever. This is in general, not just these three characters, but just in general, every single one of these characters, they don't make any sense. The focal problem is that none of these cast members have any reason to join Serge. Notwithstanding that Serge himself has no reason to be doing anything in his journey, because he completely lacks a motive to be doing anything at all in the game. But the problems actually begin with his first meeting with Kid. Chrono Cross tries to act like choices matter by having you reject the heroine of the story. She goes on some spiel about how important she is in the beginning when you reject her, and then for the remainder of the entire game, she pops up in the important cutscenes, or before the important cutscenes, to constantly berate Serge about having her join because of how important she is. She is so self-obsessed with reminding Serge of this at every given story progression. Trust me, I know. This is just shitty design. If Kid is such a focal part of the plot, then they should have just added her in automatically and not bothered with this shit show. Instead, they constantly remind you of her importance while having only 3 slots available for the 40 or so characters that are playable in this game. For most of the story, it's clear that Kid is the only reason that Serge is doing anything. So having her be optional removes all reasoning for why Serge takes the actions that he does, such as breaking into a manor, killing people, and becoming a criminal on the run against Viper's army. None of those actions make sense if Kid is not part of your group. And the game keeps forcing this by making it less and less coherent if Kid doesn't join, to be honest. And even if she doesn't join, you're basically just obeying her rules anyway. It's ridiculous. Joining Kid gives you an outlying basis to commit to actions in the plot, but there are key problems even with this. First, her reasoning for attacking Viper's manor makes no sense, as she had no proof at all that Lynx was connected to Viper. But, not unexpectedly, from poorly done stories like Chrono Cross, the idiotic reasoning of hers turns out to be completely correct, despite the lack of evidence and the lack of any sense whatsoever in breaking into a manor for the purpose of finding someone who may not even be there, or may not even exist because you don't even know Kid that well at that point. But moving along. Now, at best, Serge could take a liking to Kid and perhaps try to assist her in her revenge. This is already assuming that he has no moral qualms with murdering a non-human who he doesn't know, and for no other reason than one girl saying nasty things about the person, decides to just up and help Kid murder someone. But, the entire scenario just stretches believability, and this is one of the focal plot points of the story. The only motive apparent is that Serge, for some reason, likes Kid, even though he's supposed to be a silent protagonist. And he seems to like her for her looks, and then decided to help her assassinate someone who might be in a manor based on Kid's imagination. And so he decides to steal the armor of some of the guards, just, completely break the law right there. to secretly infiltrate the manor and kill anyone who gets in their way as well, in order to find someone who may or may not be in that manor, because you're just going off what Kid says, and you have no reason to believe her, and she has no evidence of anything that she says. I mean, for all intents and purposes, Lynx could be the innocent person here, and she could just be out to commit a murder, and you would never know. Now, moving on from the stupidity that was the beginning of this game, the way Kid's reset powers are explained don't make any sense, because it is Kid herself giving the information. Now, her physical state resets and her memory is wiped away, thus all the information that she knows is gone, removed as if she has never experienced it. Makes sense. That is the basis for her not remembering Serge and Lynx switched bodies. This is a very major plot point that she doesn't remember because of this reset power. But, as with everything regarding Chrono Cross, one glaring, excruciatingly stupid problem has to be highlighted. How did Kid know about her memory wipes and her body's reset powers if her memory and body is being reset? How can she even remember if the explanation is about why she can't? Like, how was Masato Kato so stupid that he didn't even think of this obvious self-contradiction and self-evident plot hole? This is by far one of the most glaring, stupidest, and most ridiculous problems that were so obvious, and it's piss poor story writing, to be honest. It's piss poor story writing that he didn't even think of the inherent self-contradiction here. Finally, this stupid plot twist only serves to exonerate Kid of any wrongdoing that she commits throughout the game, including helping Dark Surge kill thousands and attempting to bomb refugees, which included 2 children. The entire twist is to not only make Kid virtually immortal, which is basically what she is with that power, but also to keep her blameless of her own actions as expected of a Mary Sue character. She is always to be considered blameless, always in the right, never wrong about anything, always deceived and tricked, because she is the author, that is, Masato Kato's wish fulfillment character, as expected of a complete trash plot made by a trash writer for his trash character. The garbage true ending serves as further proof of this blamelessness. No one even questions Shala's actions in very nearly dooming the world. Now, the story events after Viper's Manor are particularly stupid. In fact, it's probably the dumbest moment in the game, and that says a lot, considering this game is so rife with stupidity and piss-poor storytelling. The problem, of course, is Korcha. His entire character does a 180 based on Serge's choices. In this specific context, Kid is supposedly dying from poison. I was so hoping that the poison would kill her, so I wouldn't have to deal with her stupidity anymore. So I told Korcha I wasn't going to help her. And I was so hoping that would be the end of it for that stupid character. And then the absolute dumbest conversation in JRPG history had to happen as Korcha proceeded to be incoherent, nonsensical, and downright stupid with his behavior. To put it mildly, Korcha's actions make no sense. He goes from asking Serge why he would go out of his way to put himself in danger for Kid, and repeatedly says it's a bad idea. And I do mean repeatedly. He makes such a fuss about how it's wrong for Serge to put himself in danger for someone that he barely knows. And not without good reason. In fact, Kid and Serge have probably known each other for at best a week, but judging from how many scenes had nightfall, from the changing times from day to night, it would probably be more accurate, judging from the game itself, to say that Serge only knew Kid for 2 days after meeting her at his other version's gravesite, where they first meet up. In this context, when accepting Korcha is right, Korcha then does a complete reversal, as mentioned, and shouts at Serge for not helping his so-called partner, as if to imply that Serge and Kid, who've only known each other for 2 days, based on what the game has shown us that far in, should somehow have a deep and meaningful connection that Korcha is magically privy to. What did the game actually do here? It punished Serge for not helping the Mary Sue piece of shit character that is Kid. The narrative basically demands you kiss her ass all the time, in a game about so-called choice, where you get to pick from 40 or so allies. Every fucking time you choose not to assist Kid, you get punished for it and shat on by the other cast members. Korcha fills that role in this instance, and to my shock, he actually demands the necklace that Kid gave Serge, something Korcha has no right to ask for and no business taking. And Serge, being a worthless piece of garbage of a silent protagonist, and I mean, like, he's just the worst version of a silent protagonist I've ever seen in a game. It's implemented so poorly and so stupidly that it was such an ordeal to force myself to play through this garbage game. But moving on. Serge just gives the necklace to him, and by the end of the train wreck of storytelling, progressing this shitty game further, you predictably find out that someone else, some mysterious someone, gave the stupid Mary Sue a cure anyway, so you didn't even have to really do anything. Because of course the Mary Sue piece of shit gets her way. It was absolutely disgusting. Dear viewers, thank you for listening to this podcast. If you would please like, share, comment, and subscribe if you like my content. If you feel that I deserve it, please consider supporting me through Patreon. If you have questions, tweet me at JoveJarin, email me at JoveJarin@hotmail.com. Thank you.